Hello, this is Sarah Marisha White, and this is my new podcast, Our Bodies Will Be Dirt. Tune in to the mind of an artist, land steward, healing practitioner, and warrior for liberation as we talk about life, death, and the liberation of our bodies in between. Make a cup of tea, maybe make a little comfy space for yourself and come tap in with me. What's good, y'all? It's been a month, which kind of makes my brain feel a type of way. During this time in life, it seems to be moving faster. And also, some moments feel so slow. I feel like I looked up and blinked and it had been a month. I didn't really feel really clear on what I wanted to say today, so I have been just taking time. This is per usual. This is how I do it. But I've been practicing discipline in my life, and this is something that I want to get more disciplined with, and I really want to show up every 2 weeks. So that's my hashtag goals, but the reality of grief, it's a whirlwind. So on what day was that? The 26th, I think? We had my mom's celebration of life. Sorry, I'm trying to make sure. Okay, yeah, the 26th. I have not completely lost my brain. We had my mom's celebration of life, so from the time I spoke last on here until then, I worked so hard coordinating that celebration on my own for the most part. And if you know me well, I went over and beyond. I wanted every sense to be activated. I wanted it to smell a certain way, sound a certain way, feel a certain way, taste a certain way, and also on the soul, heart level, have that takeaway, along with a physical takeaway. And in many ways, I do think my mom was mindful around giving me that task, because that task began when she died, and I then had almost a month with something I had to do. A lot of stuff that I had to get done, even though I was getting it done not as fast as I would if I was fully functioning, but I didn't have as much time to sit and spew in my emotions. I would still have emotional reactions, but I had stuff that had to get done if I wanted this to be executed at the level of my taste. And so that meant like very romantic, whimsical flower arrangements everywhere. That the whole event had a mood board that I created digital outlines for, so I could share with people the color palette, the sound, the taste, the texture, and the details. And then really specific food, really specific music, and really specific atmosphere. So I just want to talk you through a little bit of it. This part will be brief, but I found this venue in North Minneapolis. Shout out to the Art House that gave me a beautiful rate, and the space is so light-filled and spacious, and it just has really good energy in there. It's normally rented out for like small dinners and small events, but also photographers use the space, and I'd been there once and knew that was where I wanted it to be. And my mom approved. I showed it to her. And then she had mentioned wanting soul food, fried chicken, macaroni and cheese, collard greens, cornbread, potato salad, and a really beautiful salad. So I had a dear friend, Sophia, I tasked her with the salad. She's a farmer, or we farmed together, and both really believe in food justice. And I just trust her taste and the way she executes things. I knew it would be beyond what I could imagine. And then I found Chef Ed Porter through a friend to do the soul food. And this task was going to be even more daunting because I wanted everything to be organic and sourced in a way that was like ethical and healthy as soul food could be. And let me tell you, people have been talking about that food for the last week and a half. So it was great. Has it been a week and a half? Around then. My days are crazy. But anyway, that went really well. There was a dessert room, and that room had a different flower palette. My dear friend and a healer, Julie, took on the task of the flowers in there, which were vibrant, kind of matching the desserts with berries and all the other arrangements in that room. And my friend Janata helped to organize the dessert table along with other friends that had stepped in. Like, really, I couldn't have done this without my friends. I had basically an hour to turn this whole place into my vision, with nothing set up when we arrived, including tables, chairs. It was a lot. And on top of it, my mom's husband's family members arrived like 40 minutes before doors opened. So it was kind of like high pressure. Let's just move. I didn't stop running. I ran for like 2 hours straight, even once people were there, just every detail, trying to get it all down. And the whole room was filled with beautiful photos and like gold frames, and it was all really specific. I worked on flower arranging for almost the whole day before, and a friend, Avi, came to help. The flowers were picked out and coordinated along with me with a farmer, Ellie, who's a flower farmer who I've known for years and really, really appreciate just the energy that human holds, and trusted that the flowers would look exactly how I wanted them to look. I hadn't thought about how they would all arrive in boxes and need to be trimmed and cared for until the date, and then arranged. To me, in my head, I thought, I'll just arrange them on the spot. But I arranged maybe for 7 hours, 8 hours. That's how many flowers I had. Anyway, so there were some, bumps in the road. There's a few little details. I won't get into them right now, but things that I thought, I wish I would have done that differently. Not around decoration or not around how the day flowed, but just a couple of missed opportunities and misunderstandings, which I think that's something that you can expect to happen when family's together. But overall, it felt to me kind of like an end of a chapter, like now you don't have something next to do. You have to actually feel it. And that has been interesting. It's a whole different level. It's been a little over a month since I lost my mother now, and in some ways it feels like something that I would prefer not to look at. Like, I feel like I catch myself avoiding looking at the pictures all over my house of her, because there were some days where it hurt so bad that, like, I just don't want to feel that weight of sadness right now. And then other times I don't have to look at a picture. I still feel that. But mostly I also feel this sense of needing to get back to life, because all the bills and stuff have been waiting for me. They like have eyeballs sitting in the corners on tables looking at me. And the reality is that I don't have a cushion. I didn't prepare to need to take some time to get reorientated. And so the amount of time I've already taken is starting to, feel really tight. And I had been told, let me use some discernment on how I say this. Thank you, God. I had an expectation based off of a conversation that the inheritance would be shared. And then after the celebration, I was given some information stating that it may not be shared the way that it was spoken of. So the relief I kind of anticipated after all of this is no longer promised at this current moment. And I'm going to trust God on taking care of that. My way won't be the right way in this scenario. So there is some surrender happening, but on top of that, there was something that I noticed when I was done and I looked at the photographs that both of me and my daughter took with my professional camera, and the feedback I got was from a handful of people immediately, I want you to do mine when I go, or I want you to do my mother's. And I kind of had a download while I was doing it, like, this is all stuff that I've been trained to do. I've worked in the service industry, I've worked with plants, I've worked with food, I've worked with service. I've been a DJ for a long time, I'm a photographer, but more so, I know how to create an atmosphere, and I know how to hold space. And so now walking through this death process and being kind of forced or invited to use all those skills at once to process my pain and grief, I'm beginning to get some ideas on where this may lead me. Almost like a segue into a new path where I can use so many of the things that I've studied around the nervous system, around grief, around knitting together community, and around creating an atmosphere. And I won't say more on that right now, but it does give me a little like twinkle of excitement, like, oh, maybe this will be for something. So, wow. I just looked at the calendar for October and realized it was a month ago today that I went to see my mom, her body in the casket. And then life just keeps going. So yeah, when I found out the news about this discrepancy with the relief that I thought would be coming financially, not a lot even, but just some, I got a little ping from a friend hearing me. I was kind of going off at the mouth. I was hurt, mad. And she mentioned that there was a book club with a group of them reading this book. And the book is called The Bait of Satan. I would have never picked up that book, not even 6 months ago, definitely not a year ago. And I probably would have hit someone with the book for the years before. Like, I ain't really about that life. I'm over here meditating. I'm over here with my good energy. I'm over here, in my mindfulness path, and I'm not really thinking about Satan, But since my life path has been turned around and shifted, and sometimes I really want to spend some time talking about that, because now it's like each week as I progress further into following Christ, I see where I was at before. And there's a lot there. Let me stay on track though. In that book, they talk a lot about offense and kind of like a case for offense, and how so many of us are living our lives offended. And once there's an offense, it's like we want to have what's right done. At least me, I'm like, I want justice, right? I stand on the line of getting justice for the people that deserve it, especially in activism and in liberation. I want our people free. And in some ways, I've been a type of person that's like, by any means necessary. Like, we're taking it back. And I felt myself feeling like really self-righteous about, there's multiple ways that we can go about getting this issue remedied. I know that it's wrong. And I know that I could shift it and have other people agree with me and have support around it. But when I'm reading this book, and I'm seeing how offense is almost like an open window to a cold heart and bitterness, and how God is asking us to not need to prove our case and to let Him do it. Let God judge. Ooh, that was triggering at first. I was like, what the, not in this case. I'm not going to just put it away. You know? But the more I started reading about like the bitterness that grows there, the more I started to see, there's a lot of different things in my life where bitterness, something happened that I felt offended by, and I started to feel bitter. And there's all these different people, places, spaces, communities that I put a wall up around my heart and decided, I'm good. It doesn't even really take a lot. Somebody could say something like that just gets on my nerves, and I'm like, I'm just going to unfollow them and block them. I ain't really got time for that, you know, and that's fine. It's good to have boundaries to keep yourself feeling safe, but when I really got down to the detail of some of the walls I put up, it was just a trend of bitterness and me claiming that as a part of my personality and thinking about how isolating that really feels. And I don't think in the past I would want to necessarily shift that to have a better heart, but that is the path I'm on right now. It made me curious. What would it be like if I didn't need to get what's right in this situation and let it work its way out? Because in the end, we all get what we have coming, unless, we turn it around. I'll just leave it at that. Because everybody has their own beliefs. I could go into mine if anybody's ever interested, but at this point, no one's going back and forth with me until I get a guest. I'm just talking about my general thoughts about these things, and I'm sharing them out of a practice, out of some discipline. But part of what I was reading, I'll read to you in the book, The Bait of Satan. Bitterness is a root. If roots are nursed, watered, protected, fed, and given attention, they increase in depth and strength. If not dealt with quickly, roots are hard to pull up. And that's John Beecher, who writes the book. And the book has been honestly really interesting, eye-opening, and heart-shifting. Not in a super comfortable way, and if you don't believe in God or Satan, you may not get the same takeaways, but I still think there's something in that book for everyone. I was really curious about it, just even intellectually, as I read through it. Like, had me questioning some patterns and things that have happened in my life, but more so this book is pointing towards the enemy using the bait of offense to get in there, to cause separation, division, fighting, power dynamics, isolation, shame, and that's something that I could actually see happening. I saw this situation can go a few different ways because everyone's grieving. And it could blow up and leave a bigger wound for all of us, or I can step back for now. So that's where I am. Your girl is growing. I could feel different next time I come here, so let's just all give me a little round of applause for this positive moment. Anyways, another thing I have been really enjoying and benefiting from is training at the gym, lifting heavy. It's been such an ally for me during this time with hospice, during the time of losing my mom, planning the celebration. I feel like I've been more consistent at the gym, and I really am interested in exploring kind of like the somatics around how lifting is an ally and a supporter of the nervous system when it comes to grief. I know that lifting it can spark the emotions of traumas. And I know there's that side of it. So if you have a lot of trauma and don't have a relationship with lifting, I highly recommend you get a trainer who's trauma informed. Or work with someone like me that has worked with both. I work on bodies, with bodies. I've studied trauma, and I love lifting weights. So that's kind of just something to keep in mind. Sometimes people don't realize why they get so triggered at the gym when they're trying to, especially lift heavy. If you don't have a history of being an athlete, you can hit a wall where, for me, it's like I'll get so sore that I just won't want to go back. And it'll take me like weeks to go back again, and I can't figure out what is it. And it's like that pain in my pelvic floor triggered something that I didn't process until I realized there was a connection. There's different things like that, but I don't know. Also, it just feels good to have something that you can control. And as I'm, 44, so my hormones are shifting, bone mass is shifting. It's also just giving me more longevity. And I used to love being thin. And so I feel a little kind of uncomfortable with I'm bulking kind of. I'm eating a lot of protein, more than, I didn't even know how much protein you had to eat to build muscle. I thought I was eating enough, and now I've been tracking it with this app. And I'm stuffed. I'm like, dang, I still haven't gotten all the protein I need for today. And I feel so crazy. And I've been monitoring, I can't say the word, monitoring, oh gosh. Anyways, I've been counting my ounces of water. It's interesting, I've been noticing certain words. My brain is still not fully functioning just from how many things have happened. And some of it has felt pretty traumatic, where I feel like it's messed up my main receptor of brain. But anyway, counting my ounces of water. I thought I was drinking enough water. I've been trying to drink in between 64 and 80 ounces of water a day. I'm constantly drinking water. I didn't know. I highly recommend playing around with a trial and actually seeing how much water you drink, because there are people that love to drink water. I'm jealous of y'all. And there's people like me that I think it's great to drink water, and I try to, and I think I do. And I also know a lot of people that just don't like drinking water. They don't drink water. But when you see how much water you're drinking and how much energy you're outputting, you can see your hydration level. And I felt kind of more roly-poly. I feel like all my rolls are hydrated right now, and I just feel like I have more water weight on me for sure. But I think that's because my body's not used to being this hydrated. And so it's holding on to it. And it'll probably take maybe even a couple of weeks of doing this consistently for my nervous system and body system to know, okay, you don't have to hold all this water. Sarah's drinking water now. This is a new thing, we're good. But it's been kind of eye-opening to witness my body so desperately holding on to all these extra things that I'm doing because it's new. And I felt a little bit off-kiltered because I feel just like my body feels like it's increasing quickly, but not in the way that I would like. I'd like my butt to just be, wow. Anyway, I'll keep training. But yeah, just wanted to touch on how training has been really helpful. And I met a new friend. Her name is Anissa. What up, boo? And we've been talking. She lost her father 3+ months ago. And we got to sit by each other in a sacred circle, kind of learning about a new space that's opening up. And it's been nice to have someone to share, so I'm not bothering my friends with all my feelings, my friends that haven't experienced it before, and some of my friends that have. I don't know. I like to have somebody that is down to talk about stuff like death. And I was sent this poem, and it was really beautiful, and I wanted to share it. Thank you for sending it, love. I am standing upon the seashore, a ship at my side, spread her white sails to the moving breeze, and starts for the blue ocean. She is an object of beauty and strength. I stand and watch her until, at length, she hangs like a speck of white cloud just where the sea and the sky come to mingle with each other. Then someone at my side says, there, she's gone. Gone where? Gone from my sight, that is all. She is just as large in mast, hull, and spar as she was when she left my side. And she is just as able to bear her load of living freight to her destined port. Her diminished size is in me, not in her. Ooh, I almost got emotional. And just at the moment when someone says, there, she is gone, there are other eyes watching her coming, and other voices ready to take up the glad shout, here she comes. And that is dying. And it says, I remember reading this from one of the books the hospice nurse gave me. Here we are. And yeah, that just kind of sums up this moment, I have to keep living and finding reason, finding purpose, and it feels impossible. It feels daunting. So I feel like I'm really holding on to the small moments of things. And as we were kind of talking back and forth, maybe 2 weeks ago, about ancestral grief, I was kind of thinking about ancestral grief in this current day society. And I'll just insert part of the voice memo that I recorded and sent over, kind of just freestyle thought around why it's harder to do it this way. So check it out. I'm just leaving the gym and immediately got stuck behind a train, a really long one, so I'm going to take advantage of this time. I've been thinking a lot about how our ancestors may have made it through, and I think the way we live currently as a society is so different than ancestrally the way things were done, because we wouldn't be isolated in small groups, like there would be a process of communal mourning, and there would be, other people with you to help you and to take some of the load off and to, share pain with you. Have the capacity to at least feel the heaviness. I'm not saying I wish it on anybody, because I do not wish it on anybody else, but just for perspective, I just think that the ancestral ways have been so severed, and there's such a lack of a bridge in between that, in many ways we are the tether, the suture for the future generations to create systems to process grief. And that's part of why I was like, let me reach out, because I want to be a change in that. Even if it's in my own time of sadness and grief, I want to be a part of changing what that looks like for people. Anyway. Lastly, I just wanted to share that the other morning, so lately I've been praying different prayers. I used to pray not for selfish things, but for help with things that I'm struggling with, like money, like bills, like jobs, like clarity on what kind of job I'm here to do right now, and, a fine lumberjack husband that is emotionally mature and spiritually in tune and muscular and also soft and caring, and that I'm not too much for, just casual stuff, nothing big. And, to be more loving like Jesus, to be less trifling, all those things. And also just to be myself and have support and have connection with the divine while I exist in this meat suit, in this dying world, in these dark times. Just help, Father of the universe. We need you. Those are my normal prayers. Now they're starting to shift. Now that I've surrendered even more of the things that I thought I wanted and needed. And I'm sure those will come back up again, maybe even tomorrow. The other morning, I said, God, just give me a clear way I can serve today. I'm tired of all this out there, you'll hear it in the whisper from the Holy Spirit. I'm like, I'm listening and I don't hear it. So I need it to be clear, God, like elementary. Make it childlike. Make it just, there it is. And then nothing happened, and I was just irritated, and it's getting dark out, and I decided to head to the gym, kind of meh, with an attitude. And I pull out from my house, and a half a block later, I see one guy in the car with his foot out in this minivan, and another small guy pushing it uphill up into a driveway, and it wasn't moving. And I thought, oh, here it is. And since I've been lifting, I felt like I was so strong. Strong Sarah in her soft era, right? I'm soft and strong, but I felt more strong, particularly on this day on my way to the gym, after I'd been at the gym the day before. The ego has a funny way of inflating your muscle size. But so I jump out my car and I proceed to start pushing. And I don't know if you've ever tried to push a van uphill. As you roll it up and you get some progress, it comes back down at you. And that was the moment I was like, why did I pray for this? What am I trying to do? I'm 5'6", all these things start flashing through my head, like, we gotta stop. Because we kept getting it up, and then it kept coming back down on us, and it was exhausting. I was sweating, I was panting. I made noises I normally would not make in public in front of people. Like, I was, like, exhausted. This is so hard. My body's shaking. And right when I was kind of like, dude, they didn't speak English, but I'm like, we gotta be done. This isn't gonna happen. I'm sorry. A lady ran out her crib and had seen me get out the car and came and helped push. And we still were huffing and puffing, like it was very hard. But we looked behind us and somebody else ran out with their shirt off, some guy, and that was kind of the moment we had already gotten it up, and all could kind of look at each other and smile. And yeah, I understood the power of serving, even if it's something small, can help take a pointless day and give it reason, give it meaning. It reminded me how interconnected we all are as humans and how it can be so simple. I think sometimes people romanticize this idea. Even I have romanticized this idea. All of us, I'm sure, romanticize the idea of what community is. And I think that's sometimes why community itself is so dysfunctional. Because we're all living actually in communities inside of closed homes. I don't know these neighbors. I never spoke with them. I don't know their names even after pushing. And in that moment, we just were people helping each other. And it felt like making love. It felt like breaking bread. It just felt like what we should be doing. And I think sometimes people want to try to, use like a scholarly approach to break down how to create these systems that will work and not take the time to just be there for each other. I'm less interested these days in like talking about what we're gonna do. It's like, where are you? What do you need? Like, how can we show up uncomfortable together? And that's something I have to work on myself too, because I don't have the emotional capacity right now to really show up for all the conversations that I think would be really healthy to have. And I have to balance the two of taking care of myself during my grief from losing my mother and also not abandoning some of the other places that I need to return to. And it's not just one place, there's multiple. I put everything on hold, a few months ago. So if you know me and you love me, just understand I'm not who I was, and I don't think I'm going to go back to being that person. So surprise. Just kidding. Welcome to the new me. She's changing every day. Yeah, we'll see what ends up happening, but it's all love either way, like some of us I think are meant to pitch a tent and be around each other forever, and other people sometimes we're just floating by each other and finding moments to connect and finding moments to let go and finding the freedom in between the two. And there's some people that basically are going to be tattooed in my heart forever. And all those people and places and projects and things are allowed to be fluid. That's kind of my mantra. I'm telling myself, you're allowed to change. You don't have to stay in old contracts. You're allowed to challenge yourself to see where you're masking and where you are not wanting to have people look at you badly or look down on you for the choices that you're making or that you make. And don't be scared to do things that feel hard, because they might not go the way that you think they're going to go. Tell your body, tell your nervous system it's safe to try and see. I'm walking somewhere in between those two steps and they feel pretty far away. So, send love, Sending love to you. Let me know what you'd like to talk about. Until then, peace. Much love.